Okay, so let's begin our spaceship. We are going to first draw a line. We're going to go over maybe four finger spaces and draw a little mark with our pencil. Wow. Right there. And then down here, let's do 4, maybe 5 spaces over for our other place. And then you're going to draw an arc. Okay, that's just to give you an idea of where our line from our space to our Earth is going to be. Okay, the colors that you're going to need for this part of the tutorial are white, black, and blue. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and put some white, black, and blue on our palette. Okay, and then we're going to first start with our white over here. Okay, so let's just put white on the canvas. And I might need more white. And we're not going to go all the way up to the line. We're going to kind of stop about a finger space from that line that we drew. And just fill it with white. Get a nice layer on there. Get some good coverage. You can even, how you do it doesn't really matter. You can sort of do little squigglies, I suppose, but I'm just going to get a good coating on. That's how I'm going to approach it. But we're just doing the background for this first segment. Okay, then rinse your brush. And let's get a flat brush and put a blue line right here. Just straight blue. Right here. And you can sort of blend it into the white just a little. Okay. And then the rest of this we're going to make black, okay? So we're going to take that big brush again, making sure we get all the white out of it. Or you can use a different brush if you've got it. So I'm just making sure that my brush does not have any white. There's a little bit in there. And then we're going to fill this with black. Forget to do your edges. And this is going to be deep space. Excuse me. Got a sneeze there. Just a little bit more black paint. I didn't quite have enough. And I just put my black finger on my white canvas down there. Here we go. All right, we're going to let this set for just a minute. All right, I've let this set for just a little bit, and I may have to stop again to let it dry. let's put a little bit more. I'm a little bit out of white here, but I'm going to go ahead and reboot some white on my palette. And I'm going to take a round brush. And we are going to dip into our blue here just a little bit. And then we're going to sort of create a sort of palish blue. So let's get something like that. And then we're going to start down here and we're going to just do some sort of swishy marks, swirly. You can leave it sort of dryish in some spots if you want to. What we are doing is we are going to create just a little bit of variance on the Earth's surface. This will be the part that's like the ocean under the clouds. And we probably will come back in the little white. And up here it's really dry brushed, okay? So we're just really dry. What we're doing is just creating some areas of color that sort of appear like water under the clouds. And we're going to come back with white on top of this again to sort of soften these transitions. I'm going to take a little bit of this blue that's almost straight and I'm going to put some darker areas on top of our sort of periwinkle color just in some of these spots. We don't want it all to be super dark. Right now we're just laying in some darks. Maybe there's a little spot right here that's a little darker. I'm sort of doing, some of them are sort of swishes. Okay, and we're actually going to come back with white and lay in some other things. But let's just do a few little, just little small ones this way. Some of these will be covered up. By our spaceship and also by our whites that we're going to add. Now I'm going to add just a little of this light blue, just a touch, okay? We're going to put that right at the line here, okay? We're going to use a small round brush, maybe a medium round brush, okay? So we're going to take that in that light blue, and we're just going to do a little line right here where the white meets the other color of blue, just to give one little slight variation of that blue. Okay, clean your brush out. And let's sort of dry brush this into the blue. Sort of blending a little bit of white, and this is going to make it look like sort of like an arc of light around the earth. Okay, rinse our brush, and then we're going to go into that blue again. I hope this doesn't mess it up. So go into this dark blue again, and then you're going to get it in your brush. I know this sounds weird, but get it in your brush and then wipe it a little bit, okay? And then we're going to kind of drag this line, clean your brush in between, going to drag that blue up into the black. And that is going to sort of almost, you might not be able to see it from here, but it's almost going to look like that glow of the atmosphere. And I'm using an ultramarine blue for this. And we're just dragging it into the black. And once you get black in your brush, you kind of want to be careful about that. Clean it out really good. And then we're going to come into white again, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to soften first with a flat brush. We're going to soften, I'm going to use a drier one, soften that line, okay? So we're going to touch our white, just get a little on the tip, okay? And then we're going to soften this line. Okay? And now clean your brush again because there's probably a little bit of that blue in there. And now we're going to go in with our fan brush, this guy right here. And we're going to get some white on it. And we're sort of going to do a lot like what we did with the some waves, okay? So we're going to come in here and we're going to lay in cloud areas. And most of it will be where the white is. But what we're going to do is just sort of lay in some sideways marks. Some of them will be really light, and some of them will be sort of smeary light blue, okay? And some of them can be kind of rounded using the side of your brush like this. And sort of trailing off at kind of an angle. And I'm going to do just a few little light ones down here at the corner. Real careful. What we want it to sort of look like is we sort of want it to look like it's clouds in space. And so I'm going to take a flat brush now, probably a small flat brush, maybe like this. And I'm going to take a little bit of this light blue here and some white, a little bit more white. We're going to make this sort of sky bluish color, and we're going to add in just a little bit of that in there too, okay? But just some small spaces, just to sort of create our depth. We're going to use that flat brush to kind of move from those darks. You can clean off in between if you get too much white in there. You just want it to look sort of like cloud cover over the earth. But from space. A little bit more up here. Okay, now the other thing that we have happening over here from this corner is we do have a little bit of light. So I might dry brush a little white from the corner, and then we need to do a little tiny moon there for our moon. So let's take a little detail brush. We're going to use the white. We're going to come where we want to put that. We're going to bring some light coming down from this direction. So our little moon is going to be just a little crescent. Right there. Now, we all have to go back in with our white because this black is still a little bit wet. So I cleaned my brush. Cleaning my brush on my towel again, and then I'm just going to kind of fan that out a little bit. I got a little bit out of hand there. I will be able to clean that up. We just want to show right where the moon is, and we're going to come back. We're kind of wiping it away a little. We'll be able to come back and sort of clean that up. But what we want to do is make it look like it's shaded by kind of letting that white and black blend into gray. And then we'll go with our white again, just at the tip, okay? Okay, I might let that dry because I've made a little bit of a mess out of it. Go in there and I just want to get up there kind of close. Just to show the shape of the moon. And then let's get a dry brush and do a little bit of just this white, but not too much, just a little. Really dry. Okay, and then we're going to come in right here. Just the slightest bit. Light. I'm thinking it's from maybe a star or something. I think it works better to do one direction like this. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take this side of this flat brush, okay, cleaned out, and I'm going to dip it into this paint right here. And we're going to come right here. And just do the smallest little line. Okay, all right, so we're going to stop right there and let this dry, and we'll come back and put in our spaceship, okay? All right, so our backdrop is mostly dry now, and we're going to first mix up mid-tone for our spaceship rocket, okay? And we're going to just paint the background of the rocket, and then we'll go in and add highlights, etc. Okay, so let's take some white, pretty good amount, okay, and just dip the brush in the black. It's too much, just the tiniest bit, okay, and then let's stir that up and make a mid-ground gray. And I might even add just a little bit more black, because black is something that when you add it, you have to be really careful, because you can add what you think is a tiny amount and it ends up being way too much. Okay, so what you have to do is a little at a time until you get the color that you want. Okay, and we're just about there. So I dipped it a couple little dips in there. And then I'm going to touch just a tad of this blue. Just a tad. Same thing with the blue as with the black. And we're going to add that blue in. Okay, I'm going to go just a little bit more blue. So just another touch. And we're mixing up this gray right here. Okay. Now, I think I will try to get most of the paint out of here. My technique is that I mix with a brush that is different than the brush I'm going to do the painting with most of the time. Now, if it's a big area, you could use this big brush and it'd be fine, but I'm not going to use that brush. I'm going to actually use a large or medium round brush, okay? This guy right here, I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and he's going to be how we map out our space and then we can fill in with the bigger brush if you want, okay? All right, so we're thinking of this like a torpedo, and we want the bottom of our spaceship, the point, to be mostly on the black. So we're going to kind of do a little half circle right here, kind of like a cone, a tip of a cone, okay? And then, first of all, let's make the first part, which is this first cone. So let's do like a half circle here, and then connect the two to make our basic shape. Now, I might actually bring this up just a little bit. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the outline of what we're going for. Now I'll need to clean that up because I just kind of got a little bit messy there. And then we have this sort of back thing that goes this way. And then makes a little half arc. It comes this way, and we're going to make this guy a little bit bigger just because we need it to sort of look like the front is bigger coming toward us. So we might have to correct your cone shape. And then there is a fin that comes up the back there, goes across an angle, and then meets this here. So we'll get that blocked in. That's going to end up being mostly dark, but we're going to map it in. Okay, and then we have this half circle, and then we have another fin that comes right here at the end and goes over straight, back this way, and then glides in. Okay, we're going to go ahead and fill that in. We may have to do a little refining. It's a little easier to do with a pencil than it is with a paintbrush. Okay, so that is our piece, and then this actually comes down here into a little bit of a blob. Okay, there's a little bit of a change in the spaceship there. I'm lightening this little section right here, so I added a little bit more white to my thing. I'm going to put just a couple drops of water in here because I'm running out of paint. So I'm going to put a couple drops of water and then sort of draw a little square thing right here. And I'm going to fix this to be a little sharper, as well as this. We're going to make it kind of angle back this way a little. And then just fill our space in. Make sure we have nice clean lines, okay? All right, so the next part is going to be laying in our darks. So we're going to take a little of our blue. I'm not sure exactly what color, how we're going to mix this. So let's put this in here like this. And just a touch of white. Touch of black. And we're going to mix up our sort of shadow color, okay? Now this part we might need to do with flat brush. So first thing we're going to do is come right, there is a little, actually, I'm seeing on my example that there is let me just look at this real quick. There's a little bump here, and then there's a part that goes out right there. Okay, so in this little arc, we're going to come straight over from that, and where these things sort of get close to each other right there is going to be our point, and then we're going to draw sort of like a little triangle. And then we're going to fill this in with that darker color. It might be easier to do it like this. Using your flat brush to sort of make that angle. Okay, then we're going to skip down just a little bit here, and we're going to go all the way back to here, just like that one, and come all the way to the tip. So we're going to actually come all the way down here. And this one starts out skinny right there. My kitty cat is talking. And it stops there. And then this is going to be all filled in, which we might need it to be a little bit drier now that I'm in here showing it. And then it's going to go all the way to the tip right there. We're just going to sort of, it goes from a sharp white line, and then this just sort of fades into that like this. Okay. We're going to come back here to this back part, get a little bit more of that dark color, and this will end up being a lot darker, but let's go ahead and lay in this shadow on this back portion. And then this little space right here. and we're going to draw like a little arc. Okay, so this right here is going to end up being a black window. I'm going to mix up a little bit more, a little white, a little blue. Touch of black, because I ran out of that color. I'm adding a little black to this right here to give it a nice shadow. And then this wing right here, from here out, will be black. So I've got a little black on my brush, and I'm just kind of letting it mix. It's just the shadow. Okay, I'm going to clean the end of my brush, get that black off, and just load up with blue again. And we're kind of doing this little arc right here. Woo! Look what I just did. I'll have to go back in with white and clean that up. This guy has a little bit of a shadow here. There's a little shadow in this fin down here, so we're going to come down here like that. And of course, my cat decides that right now in the middle of Mommy's video is time to play with her toy, as is her normal way. And we're going to put some shadow right here. We're kind of following that space, leaving just a little bit of lighter gray on the edge. And I'm gonna, let me see what I want to do next. Let's go ahead and lay that window in. So let's take some black on our brush, and like, you can clean your brush if you want, if you're really exacting, but I'm just kind of putting it on there. So right where this fin comes up, it gets sort of sharp there, okay? And then there's a little tiny white space, and we have a window right here that comes down. So we're gonna come, the window is gonna be kind of like a rounded trapezoid. And we're gonna fill that in to create our window shape. We're probably going to have to blacken that in darker. Okay, let's move to a round brush. Let's move to a small round brush, and let's do a few black details, okay? Let's do, there's some vents right here. They're sort of dark at the point, and they fan out. And then let's blacken in our window a little. And use our tiny brush to do just the slightest line right here. So we're going to go where this tip is. Make the front part of our rocket. And then there's two little dots here. But you could use the back of your brush if you wanted to. And down on this under part, there are a few vent marks. All right, so for now, we need probably need to let this dry because I'm picking up too much of the light gray in the paint as we put those in. So let's let this dry and we'll come back with darks and our absolute lights, okay?